I have the wonderful Kelly with me here.
Hi everybody, hello, welcome, and thank you for coming.
And I don't think she needs much of an introduction, but if I have to formally introduce her, Kelly Vero is a futurist, game developer, and architect of the Metaverse. Right now, how exciting could that be, right? And
I guess we'll find out.
And now suddenly, we were having a chat and, Kelly was asking me, am I nervous? And I said, I will decide whether I'm nervous based on the questions that come from the audience. Right?
Me too.
You too?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kelly, firstly, I'd like you to, share with our folks here, what do you actually do?
What a great question. I should probably tell my parents this as well, shouldn't I? Because they've been asking me what I do for a living for many years. Basically, right now, I'm an architect of the Metaverse, and that means that the Metaverse being this incredible buzzword currently of various 3D environments and brand activations. Well, I'm one of the people who creates the technology that goes into it, and I help to design the flow and the experience on top of it. So effectively, I'm a sort of designer meets tech developer, I guess, for want of a better term. Does that answer the question?
Yes. And before I take some questions from the audience, tell us a little more about you being a futurist.
Yeah, I've always been like this. I think I was born with blue hair, maybe, or last month it was pink. So I'm definitely thinking all the time about what's out there. I'm not thinking about what's happening now, because we can see what's happening now everywhere we turn. I want to know what we're doing 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and how we're going to be utilising technology to help us in our everyday lives. So I try to look at the past to enable me to see into the future. I look at the things that have worked and the things that haven't worked, and I try to build a picture or a prediction of what we can do 5, 10, 15 years from now using technology.
That's amazing. Before I launch into my series of questions, and which are never ending, I'd like to see if any of you folks here have
Kelly, which is your favorite game of all time? And why?
Honestly, Kritika, did you ask someone to ask Nihal what my favourite game is of all time? Well, I'm coming to you today having made many games. So I would say, Nihal, all of the games that I made are my favourite games of all time. Everything from Tomb Raider, Candy Crush, Transformers, all of those games are the games that have really shaped me, both as a person who works in technology and as a person who absolutely loves video games. Currently, I'm playing a Japanese game. So I would say that the Final Fantasy series is probably my favourite of all time, because if you look closely, I naughtily had it tattooed all the way down my arm. So that's my favourite game of all time, Final Fantasy 7. Sorry, Mum and Dad.
Thank you.
Hey, hi Kelly. So I was reading a bio and it says that you're somebody who tells tomorrow today, right? So can you just give some highlights of how Metaverse of tomorrow will look like? I know it's too early for Metaverse, but how do you envisage Metaverse of tomorrow?
Well, that is a great question, because first of all, the Metaverse really exists today. It's here now. It's just that we're not using it yet. We're not using it to its full potential. I think that the way that the Metaverse looks tomorrow will potentially usually come from how people use it. So when we really want things, we ask for things. So when we say, I want more of this, and then someone comes along and creates that for us, that's tomorrow. So when we're in a position as users, that's everybody here in the space now, in this beautiful courtyard, when you've all come to a consensus of something that it is that you want or need, that's the point with which we'll make tomorrow for you. But I think right now you're all just testing the waters, dipping a toe in, seeing which metaverse best suits you, and I'll also give you some great hints and tips of how to get started in the metaverse tomorrow morning during my talk. Don't forget to come.
Yeah, I agree. We have a great session coming up tomorrow. Somebody else had a question.
So, Kelly, you said that you're a futurist. So, on what basis do you predict that future? Like, can you objectively describe that? And if that's too hard for you to answer, then probably I'll ask another one, and you can choose which one to answer. That if you have to explain what is metaverse to a person who doesn't understand technology, how would you do that?
I'll answer all of those questions for you, and no, they're not hard to do. First of all, I guess I look as a futurist at two things: the people who use the future or technology, and the technology itself. So I bring these two things into sharp focus, and I think, what are the pain points of what it is that we created that didn't quite work? And what are the things that will best harness your future use cases? So if you're into social media, how can we make social media more universal so that everybody speaks the same language in the world? Or how do we create technology that everyone can afford? So my dream as a futurist really is to get as many people as possible using the same technology all at the same time with the same outcomes. That's really important. And then that leads me nicely to the metaverse question, because the metaverse is a universal application. It's a layer with which we can plug different worlds, different experiences, different hardware devices into to all achieve the same results when we log in. So if we're somebody who, like the gentleman over there that's probably games related, or also Nihal's, pretty much into games, are we looking for a metaverse that's game developed? Do we want something that's more gamey? We're looking for ourselves ultimately inside the metaverse. And so the metaverse is technically a persistent shared online experience. And online can mean everything from our mobile phones to our hardware devices, like the Fitbit I'm wearing now. I can have a race with Nihal maybe and see who's done the most steps today. That in and of itself has been metaversal because we're having a shared online experience. So anything that you can plug into technology definitely becomes part of the metaverse. That includes WhatsApp.
And this is just a curious question from, when I was just hearing that all the gaming platforms you've created, and immediately my son came in front of me. So this is something I would be really liking to ask you. I mean, these young generation kids, they're pretty keen on getting into the gaming space, developing games and things like that. So while I understanding their technology and its usage is something they definitely need to understand, but apart from that, any specific skill you would really want to call out, which as an individual you think would help somebody build their career in this space?
Yeah, somebody asked earlier about me being a futurist and what is it that makes a futurist. Curiosity, I think, is the biggest skill that we have as human beings. The more curious we are about the technology that we want to create, the better opportunities we have of being able to create them. Of course, I think a computer science degree is very helpful, and I think a good background or experience. But usually it's about enthusiasm and passion. I wouldn't be here today if I wasn't enthusiastic and passionate about video game technology, the metaverse, the future, blue hair, tattoos. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for those things. So I think that curiosity is definitely priority one when you're coming towards being a creative in this space. If you want to be a developer in this space, one of the key skills and attributes that you can learn really is cross-platform coding, cross-platform design, database development, anything that's tech focused. These are really good places to be able to start your career in this space. And remember that for the future in the metaverse, our children, they're all going to be driven towards doing technological jobs. So if we don't put the groundwork in now, then we will have, as usual, that we do have in every generation, a gigantic brain drain where everyone's over on the metaverse but no one knows how to use it. So we need to make sure that our young people learn now. Yeah. Thank you for the question.
Hi. So every day we see thousands of games being released, right? Whether it's on the App Store, whether it's on the internet, anywhere. What is that one key thing you would say that makes or breaks a game?
Players.
What is it that would, attract?
Players make a game and players break a game. Too little breaks a game. Too many makes a game successful. Sorry.
But what I'm trying to understand is that there are some games that are really attractive to all the players, right? To form a cult around it for that period of time. But then some games don't. So what would be the differentiating factor between the two? So why is it that today a lot of people played Subway Surfers when it came out as compared to probably a similar game that came out back then?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, I worked on Subway. I would also kind of bring Minecraft into this because it's a metaverse. But one of the key factors about why games sustain the way that they do is that games grow up with the player. They follow the player throughout their lives. Now, I'm a woman of advancing years, but I've been playing Final Fantasy, the series, since 1994, which was a long time ago. Some people in this room weren't even born. I'm sorry about that. You've missed a lot. But in terms of gameplay, what I look for in player behaviour is how easy it is that for them, the player, to be able to follow the game. Are they onboarded? Do we solve their pain points? If we don't, they tend to go away. In game development, and this is pretty separate to what I'm going to be talking about tomorrow, we have two key factors that we have to overcome. One is for mobile and one is for console. We have 20 seconds to make a difference in a mobile game. If our players are not hooked in 20 seconds, we lose them. And we have up to 5 minutes for a console game. So game developers have a lot of pressure to be able to pack in as much hooky content inside that space as they can to get people engaged and enthused in what it is that they're playing. I think that that's quite exciting and that takes quite a lot of skill for game developers. But if I was to say what are those, two sort of key things, the thing that makes it a success really is that it grows up with the player. Minecraft does this perfectly. There are a lot of people who have grown up with Minecraft and then they've told their younger members of the family you should try Minecraft, and so then they play it and so on and so forth. It's been fantastic for Microsoft and for Mojang. But also, the problems in video games tend to be in short-lived activities. So if players can't play for long periods of time or they don't find those repetitive core loops inside the game, they'll go away very quickly. So it's important to find a balance between those things. Obviously, try to do the Minecraft thing. Thank you for the question.
Yeah, I have a question. Okay? We use gamification in the learning space, okay? And that's been started for the last 7-8 years. So how would Metaverse make a difference? What Metaverse really does is make you grow and your learning path is different from everyone else's. How would the space work?
The learning space, and thank you so much for doing gamification and learning space. Wow. Please, everybody give this lady a round of applause. It's just amazing. Thank you. This is why I'm in this industry, because of people like you. So thank you for making games that young people really learn something from. That's awesome. But I guess to answer the question about the metaverse, the key element here is the social angle. When people are together like we are now, we learn more. When we're on our own, it's very difficult to learn at speed. We get bored easily, probably go onto Facebook, maybe WhatsApp, have a look at what's going on in the news. But if we're together, we're engaging with our eyes, with each other. The same thing actually follows in the Metaverse. The Metaverse should be a social space. So where we're doing things together, I mentioned the analogy of me and Nihal doing 250 steps per hour. If we tell each other that we're doing that on a Metaverse platform, then we have more to compete for, we have more to strive for. We've got more social activities, not just chat rooms and streams and chats, much more. We can go to worlds together. We can go and see things together and then talk about it in a blended learning space. So I think the social element is the real key to unlocking that learning differential. I used to be an educator myself, so I really see when I teach young people how important it is to be able to do things together and not alone. The single player element is really good, but remember, if you play single player games, you're playing with an NPC, a non-playable character. So you're still not alone, you're with somebody, and that thing might be AI. But as long as children aren't learning completely alone, a social space is the future of the Metaverse for education. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Any more questions? Otherwise, I have a question. Okay.
How's that 10 minutes going?
The 10 minutes is long over. That's history. You have to look into the future. Yeah, I just have one question to wrap up with, what would your virtual world look like? What are the experiences you would create in your virtual world?
Wow, no one's ever asked me that question before. I think that and I think I've always wanted to be asked this question, and it leads on quite nicely from that wonderful lady that's creating the gamified experience for education. I just want a place where everybody feels that they can be safe, where they feel included, where we don't have to spend $500 on a VR headset to be able to participate. I want us to be able to be in a metaverse where everybody is all learning at the same time, that we're not all racing to the end of what? We don't know. So why don't we just be in a social experience together where we're all included? And I don't just mean us here now. I mean, I want people in Rio de Janeiro to have the same experiences as people in Shanghai. I think this is much more of a geopolitical and geosocial requirement of the metaverse than just creating a gamified platform and experience.
No, brilliant, and yeah, truly she did see the future, and she said, no, this conversation is not going to be 10 minutes, it's going to be a lot longer, and we have an entire session with her tomorrow, which we're all looking forward to, Kelly, and thank you for doing this, and for all of you here, watch out.
Thank you, actually, for all coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I'm very excited that, she's part of a very large Metaverse Fashion Week end of March, and hope we all get to see it in some way.
Yeah, the Metaverse covers everything. Fashion, education, construction, avionics, anything you can possibly think of. Digital twins, process twins, you name it. So if you're interested in participating in the Metaverse, come along to my talk tomorrow.
Excellent, thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow again. Thank you so much. Thanks to all of you as well. That was a good session.
For more interesting content, like, comment and subscribe to our Nasscom YouTube channel.